So what do I mean by a duo? Of course I mean two people, not to be confused with a duet. A duet is a single song or a single performance. A duo is a pair that is the act that continues to do multiple performances. I'm assuming that at least one of you can play an instrument, most likely guitar. If both of you can play, that's even better. At least one of you has to be able to sing. It's even better if both of you can sing, because then you have the opportunities for taking turns singing lead and also having two-part harmonies in your songs, which gives you a lot more options musically if you can do that. Now, statistically, most musicians that go out and play live tend to be male, but guys, if you can find a female to be your partner in this duo, you're going to have a bit more audience appeal. It also gives you more flexibility in which kind of songs you can do. It'll give you different range for vocals, and it's going to have more audience appeal to the general audience, especially for the kind of venues that you'll be playing if you're playing at a local level. So if you're a dude that plays guitar and sings, a very strong partner in your duet is going to be a female singer. If she can play an instrument, that's great. Even if she can't, that's still great. There's a lot of market value there for you in your partnership. It'll open up new song opportunities and new gig opportunities with that kind of a format. So let's talk about the 6 reasons why you should play in a duo. Let's start with number 6. The equipment setup is much easier than playing in a band. You don't need a drum set, you don't need a big guitar rig or a bass rig, you don't need any sub cabinets for your PA system. Pretty much all you need is your guitar or guitars, your microphones, and a small mixer and a couple of top speakers, probably with 15 or 12-inch speakers and a horn in it, maybe on a couple of tripod stands. It's a very lightweight setup. It's not much more complicated than playing as a solo act. So the equipment setup is going to be much easier to move around, lighter, more compact, which gives you more opportunities to play into some of the smaller venues that would be maybe too small to have a full band setup, and maybe the stage area isn't really a stage. Maybe it's just a corner of the floor and they don't have enough room to set up a band in there, or maybe it's a very small stage where they normally would have just a solo act, but you could probably squeeze 2 people in there, and that gives you a lot more opportunities to play the venues that otherwise, like I said, might be too small for a full-size band. And that's reason number 5, which is you can play pretty much any size venue with a duo act. Even the small venues where normally they would only have a solo act, you could probably put 2 people on the stage there, whereas maybe it's too small for them to have a band. But as a duo, you could also be on a full-size stage where they would normally have a band, and because there's 2 of you, you could spread out a little bit, you'll still have your PA system, and you still kind of can fill up the stage so it doesn't look too awkward. So you do have sort of the best of both worlds with a duo. You're sort of in between, and you can do pretty much any venue that any live act could do. Reason number 4 is because you can play any size venue, that also means that you could play any day of the week. You know, bands are normally only on Fridays and Saturdays. That's when the venues have the big parties. That's when they get the biggest crowd in there. But other nights of the week, they might also have a solo act. Well, you can play those other nights of the week as well, because, you know, you're a little bit cheaper than having a full band. And that just gives you a whole lot more opportunities for gigs, again, because you can play any venue, and now you can play any night of the week. Number 3, vocal harmonies. Vocal harmonies are really important to audience appeal. You know, there's so many bands out there where there's only one person in the band that sings, and audiences get tired of that after a while, and it really makes a big difference if multiple people in the band can sing and you can sing harmonies. It really makes a big difference musically to people. So as a duo, if you're going to have 2 people in the band, you should both be singing and you should be harmonizing whenever you can. Pick the songs that allow you to do that, where you can have those 2-part harmonies, and it's really pleasant to listen to. That really appeals to the audience. Reason number 2, a solo act can be a lonely gig. You're the only person up there on the stage. You don't have another musician to bounce off of or have fun with. You know, when you play in a band, that's one of the joys, is not just playing in front of the audience, but also being up there with your buddies and joking around and reading each other musically and all that. Well, when you have a duo, you still have that effect. You can play off of each other, you can joke around with each other, you have a certain communication and a certain camaraderie on stage while you're performing. Whereas you'll be missing that with a solo act. So being in a duo helps keep it from being such a lonely gig. And now, reason number 1 why you should play in a duo is because you'll make almost as much money, or maybe even more, than you would make playing in a band. And here's why. When you have a band, you have multiple members. You have to divide the number more ways. So let's say, for example, if your band is getting, say, $400 and you've got 4 members in the band. Obviously, you're each making $100. When you're in a good duo, though, you can make $300 a night. Well, you only have to divide it two ways, so you're obviously each making $150, which is more than you would make playing in a band. So the money can work out really well. So if you've got a good duo, especially, in my experience, I did a duo for several years, and I did have a female singer, which brings a lot of marketing potential, which makes it easier to sell our act, and it brings in the audience, and it has a great appeal, and then you can get paid, a solid amount of money, but then you only have to divide it by two people. So the money is a lot better than playing in a band. Not only that, a duo can play a lot of the same types of gigs that a full band can do, not just playing bars and restaurants, but also private parties and events and even weddings if you're good and solid. Now, I had a duo for several years. We did a combination of doing some just guitar and vocals. We did have some backing tracks and some stuff, so we were able to play some dance music. So we were able to do parties and events where they wanted to have a dance floor and they wanted to get people out there with a full sound, even though they didn't necessarily see a drum set behind us. It still worked out really well. So the money can be really good because there's only two people involved. So that's my 6 reasons why you should play in a duo. If you want to get busy as a working musician, it's a great way to have another type of act that can get some good income and get some good gigs for you. So I'd love to hear what you think about these ideas, and if you have any more of your own, drop them below in the comments section. And of course, hit the like button and the subscribe and the little bell, all the things that you always do on YouTube, and we'll see you next time.